Let me quickly talk about a few things before we read the comments. The prosecution asks for 30 years in prison for Wander Franco, no less than that. But well, we all know asking doesn't mean getting it. But the fact that they're asking for 30 years is really significant.
Yes, it is like the maximum penalty, let's say, in the Dominican Republic. Penalties do not accumulate there. It is not that for various charges they all add up, right? The charge with the most years. If the judge decides on that, obviously, then 30 years is what he gets. Here the issue is that the motive, the prosecution, I think, has to do with pressure. With media pressure, and the pressure of what it means when a minor is involved. We're talking about a minor here. The prosecution here is, the charge they are going after is child trafficking. It's not everything that happened, but child trafficking is the main charge. And that's because, obviously, he paid. He paid to have evidence covered up. He bribed the mother. There's a bit of everything here. We really have to see how this trial ends up playing out. Wander Franco's lawyer, just to mention the other side, says the evidence the prosecution is showing isn't strong enough and isn't completely reliable. So, we'll have to see how it goes. It's a very high-profile case. There's a lot of money at stake because there was money involved from the start. The father dropped the girl's father dropped the complaint. In other words, he got out of it. And why did he get out of it? That's what I wonder, right?
I don't know.
Why did he walk away? I don't know. There are a lot of things to consider. That's why I think the prosecution with all this pressure feels like, well, I have to do something. What's for sure is that a player who signs a $180 million contract shouldn't end up like this. Honestly, I think Wander Franco could get the woman he wanted with that money. Or whoever he thought he wanted. No need to stoop that low.
We'll just have to wait and see, for sure. I think the trial is just getting started, let's say. We will keep an eye out for anything, any updates on the case. What's definitely true is that the project Tampa once had, which of course had Franco as the centerpiece. Now, unfortunately, they don't even have a stadium. And no, it failed, let's put it that way. They're sitting in third place in the American League East, behind Toronto, but even ahead of Boston.
I wouldn't call it a failure, though. It's just that this is a team, the Tampa Bay Rays, that doesn't usually hand out contracts like that, and suddenly they decide to give $182 million to Wander Franco. For 11 years, they said, he's the player who's going to take us there. We're finally going to give a big contract because Tampa Bay is used to trading away their players.
Right.
So now they're in a rebuilding phase because, to be fair, Tampa Bay always makes the playoffs, Tampa Bay always competes.
They made it to the World Series 5 years ago.
Exactly. They've been there, they made the playoffs. But when you build a team around one player and it doesn't work out, well now, I can tell you, Ender, that the player, after this whole situation with Wander Franco, they've shifted everything toward Junior Caminero. Junior Caminero was the player everyone saw in the Dominican League final. The home run he hits, no one knows what went farther, the bat or the ball.
I became a fan of Caminero after that home run.
Well, and he's a player who's just 21 years old. He already has 13 home runs. As you just said, Tatis has 12 home runs. Well, he's 13 home runs too. He's just getting started, and the power he shows I think will help the Tampa Bay team find their way forward. That's the only way. See how they manage with Junior Caminero and the other players they have in place to rebuild the team after the whole Wander Franco mess.
Right. The Tampa team that, well, people probably thought they'd be in worse shape than they are right now. So, if you think about it, they're better than Boston.
They're better than Boston, battling with Toronto. They're doing better than Baltimore. At the start of the season, people said Tampa didn't have a stadium nor players. And now it turns out they're winning. I think they have an advantage. They have a really good manager who knows how to handle those young players. And baseball is all about data and analytics.
They start a series tomorrow in Arlington against the Rangers, and then they head to Miami. So, the next 6 games are coming up, although Texas is a very good team too. That's the current situation of Tampa. Let's go to the comments. When you can, Luis, let's read the comments. Opinador Deportivo. Hello, greetings. Greetings. To Opinador Deportivo. Take your sweep, Julio. But hey, what's going on? What's going on with you? What's going on?
I don't know, but what happened?
Official ambassador of the anti-Yankees Patriotic Front, Julio. But hey, what's going on? I didn't see Julio say anything against the Yankees.
I said they were the best team in Major League Baseball.
Exactly. Yes, that's recorded. Ulysses Meza says, let's go team, let's go fans, let's go Mets. Yes, sir. The Mets are in Los Angeles, all set to start today. Let's see how they do. Ruben Figueiredo Luna. Between the Mets and the Dodgers, what a tremendous series. Let's see how Juan Soto does today. I hope it's a good show. What I want. What we want. Santiago Lopez from Facebook. The Mets are playing today. That's right, they are playing today.
At 10 o'clock at night.
Ulysses, the Mets sweep puts them mentally in the best position against the Dodgers. I agree, Ulysses. I agree. Nelson Jose, Soto has to carry Ohtani's bag and polish his cleats. Well, if they earn almost the same, then no.
I wouldn't say so. Actually, Soto earns more. Now, if the message refers to the sports side, Soto should carry it. Okay, we can talk about it.
But in the other aspect, no.
In the other aspect, no. Not at all, because in the other, Ohtani had 17 million stolen from him and he didn't even notice.
He didn't notice.
Supposedly.
It says the Mets will be swept. We need to see which team Nelson supports. If it's the
Yankees.
Or the Dodgers.
The Yankees to die.
Live with Willie. Gentlemen, I think that by Sunday, Soto will have between 16 and 17 home runs. You'll see. Well, if that happens.
That would be 6 this week. It's not that easy.
Gavino Diaz. I left my like number 13. The Dodgers lost to the Mets. They're going to lose the series. When it happens, what do you say? That you're obsessed with Ohtani and consider him the best. Well, what's going to happen is that Ohtani will keep being Ohtani. He can't pitch. Not yet, mind you. He can't play every position. It's part of the game. Will Ohtani go hitless in all 3 games? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Besides, if he fails, he won't be. I mean, you're not that good when you fail. Nor that bad when you don't. It's normal. I think he's proven he's the best in baseball.
For Santiago Lopez, the Mets play at 10 o'clock at night, Eastern U.S. time, which is the same time as Venezuela. At 10 o'clock at night, the New York Mets are playing, because they're playing on the West Coast. Anna and Edouard, good afternoon, fans. How are the Diamond commentators doing? Greetings from Maracay, Venezuela. Greetings, Anna and Edouard. Greetings to Maracay, Aragua State. Ohtani is not better than the judge. Go Yankees. And a heart. Go Yankees, then.
Ohtani is not better than the judge. No. But if he warms up in the bullpen, he's better than the judge. Than any player, because he does 2 things no one else does.
Right. Ulysses, Jorge Lopez with that glove on May 29th cast bad luck for the Mets, and since then they've been the team that has won the most. That's right, that's right. The numbers are there.
Since that happened, since he was let go, the team changed.
They've been winning games. El Rabias, from the Dominican Republic. Greetings. Greetings, Dominican Republic. Gavino, Dominican Republic, the only team to win the Classic undefeated, which means we are a powerhouse. Not just for that, Gavino. You're a powerhouse overall, because they produce many players. Many great players, baseball stars. That's why you're a powerhouse. Salam tells us, I see Cora wavering. Careful, or they'll fire him. My God. I don't know what will happen with Cora, Victor. Honestly, I don't know if there's a problem inside. It seems like there is. It seems. Let's see. Let's see if they can bounce back. Gavino. Well, from the Dominican Republic. I don't agree with the negative things. They should give him 40 years for what you're saying, Julio. With that, they really should. Huh?
He should get 40 years for what Julio says.
Yes, exactly.
That topic is sad. It's sad because he's a player, but if minors are involved, the topic isn't discussed.
Anna and Edward. The Mets will win today. Hopefully they sweep the Dodgers. Anna and Edward were left with a grudge over the weekend. Ulysses says, since Jorge Lopez threw the glove on May 29th, the Mets have 104 wins. In that same period, the Dodgers have 99 wins, the Yankees only 93. But there's a difference, Ulysses. You're forgetting that, when counting championships, I'm not going to count that the Mets have 104 wins and the Dodgers have 99. The reality is that the World Series was played by the Dodgers and the Yankees.
And they won it.
That's the reality. The 104 games are a nice story. It's a nice story. But if they don't make it to the end, it won't mean anything to us. Senga, Holmes, Peterson, Canning, Taylor, Blackburn, that's the Mets rotation. We're waiting for Montes and Manea. Good reasons to be optimistic, that's for sure.
Yes, that's right.
Don Carlos Carrasco is just going to face an easy opponent, but I think he still has something left in the tank. Hopefully he performs well and wins a lot of games. You have to go to the Mets, Ulysses, for it to happen.
Let him take Mendoza. He likes taking Yankees players and Clay Holmes. He took Luis Severino.
Hector Alicia, epic clash. Epic clash? The epic one was between George and Ohtani, because Soto doesn't measure up. Oh my goodness. So much hate against Soto. Ulises Meza. Today we play against the Dodgers. Let me remind you, the Mets have the best record when playing against teams with a 500 record or better, with 18 wins and 10 losses. Ulysses is not giving, he's rubbing...
With facts. With facts.
Gavino Diaz. Ohtani is a gambler and it will show. Oh my goodness. Anna and Edward. Always Yankees and Tigres de Aragua.
At least they sent Guillen. We sent Guillen to them. They'll have a good manager this year.
Cabrera is coming back, right? To say goodbye.
Cabrera is coming back to say goodbye.
Right, let's say goodbye today. Julio Arias, this is Ender Cobo speaking, produced by Luis Villalobos. This was MLB Live on Diamante 23. We'll be back on Wednesday at the same time, with many surprises for the rest of the week. Stay tuned, we'll be announcing it. We say goodbye and see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Another very close division is the National League East, where the Mets are doing very well so far. The pitching experiment has worked, and Juan Soto in May has been the Juan Soto everyone was waiting for. So the Mets team in the major leagues, and the same question, is it sustainable? Can the Phillies catch up, or will Atlanta with the addition of the brother of the one in the picture?
Well, it's a tough division. Philadelphia has tightened up, but they're still going. However they keep going, they are the team with the best record against teams above 500. I mean, when you have the best record against those kinds of teams, you are in the numbers to qualify. It's simply about whether you can compete for less. This weekend they played 3 against the Cubs, won 2. Lost 1. That's it. Those are the numbers you need. And the pitching. First day, Craig Holmes. Second day. They gave up 3-4 runs. McGill pitched the second day, and yesterday Griffin Canning, who's a Hall of Fame candidate, incredibly, just 1 run in. So when you have a team like that, pitching the way they are and playing against teams that were above A0, and you're the one with the average record, you're going to be in the numbers. Well,
Yes, definitely Juan Carlos doesn't like the matter.
No, 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 no. It's a division that's going to be competitive. With the Phillies, it's not like the Mets aren't running away, even though they have the same record. And Atlanta right now, with Strider's return, will improve even more. And well, if the trade of Marcell Ozuna for Davey happens, then
It was tremendous. We didn't talk about it. It scared me. I thought a foul ball was coming this way.
well, but
That's a good question Luis just asked. So who is the real leader of the Mets?
not the captain. Not the captain. The captain is Francisco Lindor, the one who has it there. He's interested in being the leader. Juan Soto was brought in to hit when needed. That's that. That's that. There's no doubt the captain is Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
no, there's no doubt that the soul of that team is Francisco Lindor.
He's like the compass. Being the leadoff hitter also gives him a strong presence on the team.
Yes, the thing is I don't. Now, do you think Soto cares about that?
I don't know. Maybe.
Right now, it's his first year. No, maybe not.
The ego. The ego is important.
Well, but right now,
But I think he already knew coming to the Mets this was going to be the situation.
yes, but in the end, you have your contract secured. There's no problem there.
Exactly. Frankie Montas is nearing his debut. He's going to strengthen the Mets pitching.
Ah, yes, Mets, Juan Carlos, Frankie Montas. Remember that name.
Another one who later on
Becomes one of those Yankees pitchers, Roger Clemens, Frank Johnson.
No, but he becomes that. No, none that.
none that you named as Yankees.
Yes. And then later, they become the pitchers they are and say, I didn't know. But look,
He'll bolster.
he's going to strengthen the pitching. And there it is. You could say that Griffin, Canning, Kodai Senga, and Clay Holmes are the ones with the best effectiveness in the National League. Could you have predicted it at the start of the season? Not a chance. And there it is. They are who they are.
Tremendous.
Good experiment.
I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you something. If the Mets championship hopes are going to depend on Frankie Montas,
We'll have to we'll have to wait.
we'll have to wait. We'll have to see as the season progresses.
Well, same thing.
But well, let's start reading the comments. Comments rather. Radam Acosta. Judy is not first. Well, but it's his turn. Raul Gonzalez said he wasn't a DJ and that he's no longer a DH and no longer plays third base. He said, I'm not first. We'll see him on the bag. Careful.
Look, I'm not saying he can't play first, but you have to get him to practice first.
No, but you can't just put him.
What they're doing with Rafael is disrespectful. Here's the glove. Get in.
If he doesn't want to practice, then no.
That's what we don't know.
I do know if he said it publicly. Don Figueredo says, good afternoon. What they're doing with Rafael is a lack of respect. I don't agree.
They're not paying either.
Tony tells us the last day he speaks, no, because he says he's going to change it. You have to take when the day comes. You say, well, they changed it, but for now I can't tell you that they're going to change it. We don't know, but it's a possibility. Orlando Gonzalez, this friend, Juan Carlos, says Francon is one of the few old-school managers left in the major leagues. Will the tires arrive? Is that a question or a statement? It was stuck there.
There's a donut there.
Greetings. And Honey, you have to be optimistic about the reappearance of Acuna Jr.
Appearance.
It won't be immediate, it'll be gradual. What will be is his presence in the dugout, inspiration for the big players.
Correct, but no, if it's going to be, if he's ready, if he's ready, yes. Let it not be what Juan Carlos said at the beginning, that he won't steal bases at first, that's fine, or that he plays as a designated hitter one day. It's different.
Orlandito Gonzalez says, "You'll remember me when Stanton arrives. The one who's going to be out affected is Wells." What do you say, Juan Carlo?
But Stanton,
Isn't what I was telling you about. You're going to have to make room for Ben Rice because Wells is batting 90, and Ben Rice is going to have to catch. That's what I was saying.
it's a headache, and there you lose on defense.
It's expensive. It's expensive, yes, but Ben Rice.
Ben Rice is going to be the starting catcher.
No, but still, I mean, the one who's hitting plays. What are you going to do with him? You're going to take him out because he doesn't hit against. It's tough.
Orlando Gonzalez says, "I noticed that the teams in the American League Central lost their series. So, is it the weakest division in the American League?"
Not for me. For me.
The only obstacle to the Triple Crown in the National League
Is Aaron Judge, so in the American League,
Right now, there are 4 teams. The only team that isn't, well, before the weekend series started, the only team that wasn't above 600 was before the weekend series.
And it won't be.
and won't be either. Orlando Gonzalez says the only obstacle for me
for the Triple Crown in the National League is a Rays, so it's in the hands.
I mean, he says the only one who could take that away is Arias, but since he's not in the National League still,
He's ahead by 100 points.
1 on 10 just in case.
Orlando Gonzalez. And what about Stroman?
Stroman, no.
Still on the injured list. And as long as he stays there, it benefits him because of the contract.
it benefits the Yankees.
Well, that gets paid next year.
Igor Morales says, and you know what's best for the bad employee? That they still have to pay him his money if he doesn't perform, of course. We're clear that Walter won't give it to him. No, they still have to pay.
It's the only thing. Saving Rafael Devy today. Otherwise, they would have already sent him home. What to do with that contract?
That's right. Let's see what other comment we have. Brother Node will disprove what Gosmich did. He's hitting better than he was at this point now.
It's disrespectful to compare Goldsmith.
With Soto, but he's doing well. You have to compare him to what he did last year.
Igor Morales. I mean, Emma has created the best employee when they demote him, and the month they demote him again. But who below have I put anyone? How many teams are there in the major leagues?
I don't know, really.
He's talking about duty, of course, but there are only 30 first basemen. They're demoting you. Orlando Gonzalez. Dominguez better step up because there's a Spencer below who's killing it in the minors, and it's about time to bring him up.
No, they're not going to give him a year.
1 more year.
Johnny says the Mets are going for Luis Roberts. Who's out? Homework for home?
I don't think they're going for him. And especially since last week Juan Carlos rattled Brett Beatty. And over the weekend he hit 3 home runs. Well, yes, he hit 3 home runs over the weekend.
Johnny Atella says, the Mets proved last year to be a scrappy team without Soto. Now with the plantain power, that team leads. It leads the National League East. And who's the captain of the team? He's the leader of the Mets.
Lindor.
Yes. Anderson Black, greetings to the best Yankees afternoons champ. Oh, Anderson, I didn't know that.
Yes, that's something to note.
Guys, well, it's already clear to me how wrong Duty was. He shouldn't have spoken to the press. And if he considers himself a leader, he shouldn't have said anything. Hold your pearl.
That's the only thing I criticized Evers for. I criticized Duty for coming out to declare all this that Christopher did Jimenez.
Christopher Jimenez?
What's there is a lack of communication. If you tell me I'm going to first base after you told me to put away the glove, then no, even less.
It's not the same to play first after third. That can't put away the glove. Victor says, Ender, how many autographs has Juan Carlos signed? Me, and this is true what I'm going to say. When I arrived and saw how easily Juan Carlos handled himself at Duncan Park, I said, I'm not needed here.
So if you don't see me in this situation anymore, it's because Juan Carlos has it under control.
Now, but Juan Carlos seems like an Astros fan, right?
Of course, everyone calls him Mr. Juan Carlos. This, that.
But they haven't seen the shirt he was wearing, the Diamondback sweater.
Well, we're saying goodbye to Duncan Park. We're not going to work to do some notes. We're still here. Juan Carlos and I, greetings to everyone who was connected. Thank you very much. And we'll see you on Wednesday at the same time on Diamante 23 and Sport.
Best regards and have a good afternoon.